A few years ago, I had everything I ever wanted. I had a new baby, a home that I loved, and I had the privilege of being able to quit my job to be home with my child. On paper, my life looked exactly like how I planned it and how I wanted it. I had every single box checked. And on the inside, I was completely falling apart. I was in the midst of postpartum depression and navigating an enormous identity shift. I was suddenly a mom and I didn't even recognize who I was. I was so exhausted in a way that I've never experienced before. This changed everything for me. What I discovered during that time is the foundation of what I teach now.
Quick side note, if you are truly struggling with postpartum depression, seek help. There's no part of any kind of personal development you need to work on other than getting your brain to calm down. So please seek help and reach out to somebody.
Because I was in the middle of that, I made one decision. Even though I was totally exhausted and depleted and I didn't know who I was anymore, I decided to take one small step to get back to feeling like myself again. And that one honest, tiny thought gave me back something that I thought I'd lost: momentum, clarity, and joy. If you're watching this right now and you're feeling stuck, I want you to hear this. The self improvement world has been telling us a story that if you want it bad enough, you have to wake up earlier, be more disciplined, and hustle more. I want to gently call that out because that advice is not designed for somebody in really busy seasons, particularly moms with kids and responsibilities that really take up your whole day. And when you apply it to your life, it doesn't work in the long term. You get burnt out and you don't end up blaming the advice, you end up blaming yourself. And that shame that you put on yourself, that blame, makes it even harder to move and work towards the things that you want in the future. Here's what I want you to understand: the difference between being stuck and being overwhelmed. Being stuck means nothing is moving. And being overwhelmed means everything is moving around you: your responsibilities, your emotions, the mental load. It just means that they're not going in the direction that you want them to go. When you are in a busy season, you are not failing, you are surviving. And surviving takes every resource that you have. So, of course, there's nothing left over for you to take a big leap forward towards your own personal goals. Of course, you can't execute some massive plan that you have for your life because it's just not within your capacity in this season. And that's the part that nobody really talks about out loud. You are allowed to be in a full and hard season, yet still work towards your dream life or your goals. It just requires a different approach. Think of it this way: you wouldn't sign up to run a marathon the day after you move. It's not because you're incapable of running a marathon, it's because your body is depleted from the move and the timing is just off. If you wanted to get exercise that day, you would more likely have the energy to walk around the block or the neighborhood. That would still count as exercise, but it's not a marathon. It's not that you're going to give up on the marathon, it's just not the time to be running a marathon. Maybe the week after you move into a new house. It's more about being strategic with the timing. So, momentum doesn't require taking massive action all at one time. It does require consistent, honest, and right sized action. One small step taken regularly in the direction that you want. That is how life changes. The women who often make the most progress aren't the ones who work hardest. They are the ones who are honest with where they are at in their capacity. They look at their life, they take inventory of their capacity, and they take one real step forward. And then they take another step. And all those little steps turn into something. And this is not a all or nothing type of approach. For example, during my pimples of my own life, and this is when I was in that postpartum season, I dedicated myself to working on our personal finances. When learning about personal finances and finding a budget that actually worked really well for us at that point in my life, budgets had always just not really worked out. But I also wasn't consistent with them at that time. And so I dedicated myself to at least once a week, dedicate myself to figuring out a budget. And it relieved so much anxiety. We made huge strides, and the little momentum just kept building up time and time again. It was just taking that one step to show up, to work towards this thing. And over time, we are in such a different place. I feel so good about our personal finances because I took those tiny steps forward in that. So, here's what I want to leave with you today. You are a capable woman in a really full season of life, and you deserve a way to move forward in a way that actually fits your life. And in my next video, I'm going to show you the first tool that I use for myself before I even set a goal. It's called the capacity check. It takes about 10 minutes to complete. It's going to totally change how you plan your week and honestly how you see yourself. If this conversation resonates with you at all, I want to invite you to join me for a 60-minute working session called How to Grow in a Busy Season. So, we will go through a structured framework, and by the end of that 60 minutes, you will have your next step forward to gain momentum, to reach your own goals that fit into your real life, into your real capacity. So, the information is in the details of this video, and I really hope to see you there.